Good morning, good afternoon, Ngala Pengale. Whichever greeting is most suited for you at the time of this recording. It is Kamal Daniels, this is the Peng Sports Podcast, episode 23. And 23 to most people, it brings back fond memories, good memories. And I'm always confused about this. Why do people enjoy the number 23 so much? Because, yes, I did wear number 23 in my formative years playing at Jacksonville Football Club. So I'm always confused. Why do people like number 23? I see jerseys of it. Chicago Bulls. I guess it's a made-up team, made-up number. I don't know. But 23 to most people love it. And I always think to myself, I must be more famous than I think. Because yes, Kamal Daniels did wear number 23 for Jacksonville United or First Coast, the way it depends on the time frame you want to look at it. And to honor number 23, I would like to give a 23-second moment of silence to honor the great 23 of Kamal Daniels. All right. This is the Peng Sports Podcast, episode 23. I am Kamal Daniels, and it is 7:23 a.m. Wow, what perfect timing. It's like I planned this. What actually was happening was the air conditioning wouldn't turn off, and I was messing up with the sound. So I had to wait a few minutes. I would like to have started at like 7:15, preferably, but everything works out for a reason. And it's 23 hours ago, not 23 hours ago. It's been, okay, so I was supposed to do, of course, this Thursday, right? It is August the 5th. I was supposed to do this August the 4th. But due to some technical problems on the technical side of things, we were not able to do the podcast yesterday, Wednesday. So it's Thursday. So in my script, I have free agency was started 35 hours ago. So it didn't start 35 hours ago. 35 hours ago plus 24, what's that? Carry 2. It's 59 hours ago. So 59 hours ago, free agency started. So Monday around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to be exact. And it started with the Glove 2.0 going to the Chicago Bulls. Who's the Glove 2.0? Is it DeMar DeRozan? No. We're getting to DeMar DeRozan later, but the Glove 2.0 is Lonzo Ball, market value Lonzo Ball. Why is he the Glove 2.0 though? Because it doesn't matter what team he plays on, he's going to fit. And there's not a lot of players in the NBA like that, who fits like a glove. Every team wants Lonzo Ball. He doesn't need the ball to be successful. He plays good defense. He's a top 10 passer in the league. If you look at the stats, maybe it doesn't reflect that, but sometimes you just got to watch the game to see that. And this is a no-brainer for the Bulls. Just like it would be a no-brainer for any team. Just like it was sort of a not a dumb decision, because we don't know the logistics behind the Pelicans front office. Lonzo Ball probably wanted to leave, But the Pelicans will regret this more than losing Steven Adams. And I believe Lonzo just wants some stability in his career, if that makes sense. Let's recap Lonzo Ball's rookie year, right? Rookie year. This is rookie year, drafted in the NBA. A lot of expectations. Ben Simmons wins the Rookie of the Year that year, but again, has a good year, but it's his rookie year, so it's a little fluctuating up and down. Second year, what happens, right? LeBron comes. Now, that's a good thing, new leader in the locker room, but that's a big change when the best player in the world comes to your team and you have to totally adjust your role. His role didn't adjust as much as some players, but still. Lonzo and LeBron play somewhat similar styles of basketball, where they don't need the ball, but they're distributors. So another moment where he has to change his game. Year 3, he gets straight to New Orleans. Year 4, he gets a new coach. And every single year, outside of, so his rookie season, he still has the same coach. But out of his 4 seasons in the league, he's had 3 different coaches. No stability. The Bulls. Going to the Bulls, he will have some stability, right? He's always been in the spotlight, right? Lonzo Ball, right? And he's never been comfortable in the NBA. Good in the NBA, but never comfortable. Lonzo Ball is sort of like the Jenny in Forrest Gump. She probably lives a good life. She probably lived a great life without Forrest. But she never had that stability. And then Billy Donovan can be that stability, Vucevic, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan can be that stability if they're successful this year. First time he's had stability. I just mentioned DeMar DeRozan. Now with Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball and Vucevic, they now have 2 scorers, if that makes sense, with Zach LaVine. I know I'm sort of all over the place, but was sort of listing out the roster of the potential starting 5, potential starting 4 players. Maybe they could start Kobe White. They need to, of course, start power forward. You never know. You start small, start large. You never know. But the Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan complex, that scenario dynamic, I'm not worried about that at all. In the NBA, you need a minimum of 2 scorers to win a championship in this league. So they got their 2, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and then they got Vucevic, who can step up at any time, who's a 20-10 guy on his best years, right? And that is sort of a side note real quick. That's what makes Luka Doncic so phenomenal, right? He doesn't really have that second scorer. Tim Hardaway is a very good player. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a very good player, but he doesn't really have that second scorer. And he still is able to step up, and he's still able to play very good basketball and give his team a chance to even compete for a title. Maybe some people think Mavs are playoff fillers, but in my opinion, they compete for a title. They're title contenders, right? But back to the Bulls. With adding DeMar DeRozan, with adding Zach LaVine, and adding Alex Caruso. Yes, Alex Caruso. I was surprised when I saw that. That was a move that went on the radar that I didn't even see. They're 21st in defensive rating last season. So with those 2 signings, they've gotten better so far. Defensively, they've gotten better offensively. Vucevic, second year on the team. I'm liking the Bulls. Are the Bulls the winners of free agency so far? Are the Bulls better than the Heat with their new sign Kyle Lowry? I don't know. Now, we talked about winners of free agency. Who won the draft last week? A lot of people say Houston Rockets. I believe the Orlando Magic won the draft. 2 solid players. They still haven't figured out their big scenario, so they drafted Wagner. You got to pick the bet. Jalen Suggs was probably a surprise to them, so you have to choose Jalen Suggs. They definitely thought Scotty Barnes was going to fall to them, but got Jalen Suggs. The Raptors pick, right? If it works out, phenomenal. If it doesn't work out, I don't know. Do they fire their GM? I don't know. He won your championship, so I guess he has the leeway to do things like that. Right? If that was a Magic GM, he's not going to pick Wagner over Jalen Suggs, even if he liked Jalen Suggs, Wagner better, you know? So that's just something to keep in mind. But to go back to Chicago sports, the Cubs. Oh, the Cubs. Are rebuilding again? What happened last time you guys rebuilt, right? 50 years or something? No championship? No World Series? Yeah, I had to touch on the Cubs since we're on the topic of Chicago, but we're on the topic of Orlando. But are the Bulls better than the Heat with Kyle Lowry? I don't know. And the Heat signed Markieff Morris. Markieff Morris, congratulations. From the Heat, from LA to Miami. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. Not too shabby. Now, before we get into more free agency news, I just want to talk about some people who are breaking the bank. Collins for Atlanta. Huge extension. Trae Young, huge extension. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Shy 3000. That's what I like to call him. Whatever, tomato. Congratulations on signing those extensions, man. Last week we talked about how the draft is going to change generations for years and years to come. Well, these kind of money, these kind of contract extensions change communities for years to come. If you're frugal with your money and not like Kamal Daniels with his CRISPR checks in high school, then you can change a community. But congratulations to those guys. Congratulations. Now, the big signing, big trade of the summer so far, whatever you want to call it, was Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. And believe it or not, that involved more than just Russell Westbrook. And I want to touch on the Wizards side of things really quickly. If the Wizards can keep Bradley Beal, I do think that they will be in the playoffs this year. I do. It looks like they're going to sign Spencer Dinwiddie. And he's a player who's a glove kind of player who works on every team. He's very much so like Alonzo Ball. Maybe you could say Alonzo Ball's like him. It depends on your reference. Averages less than 2 turnovers a game. Averages about 6 to 5 assists a game. Can score. Kyle Kuzma was in the trade. Contavious Caldwell-Pope was in the trade. Kuzma is going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. Contavious Caldwell-Pope is going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. And Bradley Beal's last year was the second leading scorer in the NBA. He probably would have been the first if Steph Curry didn't go off for that month from March to April, right? So, Wizards fans, it's not a rebuilding season. It's not as hopeless as it may have looked. Even if they lose Bradley Beal. In their division where they play the Magic a bunch of times, where they're in the Magic rebuilding, where they play the Hornets, right? They play the Heat, who are beatable. They can do something in their division. And they can get maybe the Pistons. They can upset a few teams. It's possible. Never underestimate a man who feels disrespected. And I feel Kyle Kuzma feels disrespected. Right? On to the Lakers portion of it. Russell Westbrook. And also the other signings they signed. The signings that everyone's critiquing. Right? But what we talked about earlier in the podcast, familiarity. That's a big word for me. Familiarity. Comfortability, if that's a word. But it's about being comfortable. And the Lakers are just getting players they're comfortable with. Dwight Howard, Trevor Ariza, Malik Monk, I don't know. Maybe. Wayne Ellington, Kyle Kuzma, Kent Bazemore, Kendrick Nunn, another one, I don't know. But Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, Dwight Howard, Trevor Ariza, Talen Horton-Tucker. Last year, I think the Lakers got lost in the LA sauce a little bit. And they needed too many things to work out for them to win games. They needed Alex Cruz to play good defense and make at least 2 to 3 threes. They needed Dennis Schroeder to have at least 18 points. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had to do the same as Caruso. And it was just all those things need to work out for them to win the game. Possible, but when you play with LeBron, comes with a lot of pressure. And shots that you usually make when you're not playing with LeBron, they don't seem to fall. And stretches where you're cold seem to be a little bit longer because you're in your mind a little bit more, because a little bit more pressure, because you have LeBron, you have the lights, you're playing in LA. All that plays a factor into winning. That's why they were so good in the bubble last year. A little less pressure. A little less expectations, right? They also thought Anthony Davis and LeBron James were going to be healthy all season last year. So they played them like they were water and not gold dust. They're using gold dust like water. And you can't use gold dust like water. One's a non-renewable resource, one's a renewable resource, It rains every day, condensation every day. You get water every day. You don't get gold dust every day. And I think Frank Vogel's understood that with Carmelo Anthony. I don't think I mentioned Carmelo Anthony, but familiarity with Carmelo Anthony. When you take out LeBron, other teams are going to go on a 20-2 run. Maybe a 20-4 run because Carmelo Anthony's going to get a basket in there here and there. Carmelo Anthony understands his role now. And he understands he's not the third guy that the Lakers need. He's a role player, right? And I have nothing against it. Kendrick Nunn now can drop 6 to 8 points coming off the bench. Wayne Ellington only needs to hit 2 corner threes. Wayne Ellington doesn't need to play good defense. Kendrick Nunn doesn't need to play good defense. He needs to give energy. But Wayne Ellington just needs to shoot threes. Dwight Howard, his role is very clear. Defensive rebounds, be good defensively interior. Kent Bazemore, play good defense. And if you hit a 3 here and there, good for you. I said earlier, Trevor Ariza and Carmelo Anthony. Once they go on a 20, don't let them go on a 20-2 run when LeBron's off the court. Make your plus or minus a +2, a -2, Right? LeBron teams have never been successful, flashy. When the Heat were flashy, they didn't win that season. When the Heat decided to grind, they won 2 champions back-to-back. With Cleveland, 3-1, that was a grind. They're better when they grind, right? The bubble, grind. It was a grind thing. With LeBron James, you got to grind to your championships. It's not going to be a Showtime LeBron. He can be Showtime, but he's a grindy kind of guy. He deceives a lot of people. A lot of people think he's a finesse kind of player. Just because, a lot of people... Alright, maybe a lot of people don't think he's finesse, but LeBron is more finesse than he is power, in my opinion. And I think he's just this truck going down, freight train going down the middle. He's a finesse. And too much finesse, sometimes you need some power. But on to the Russell Westbrook portion of this. What was my first reaction to it? Probably the same as yours, right? This won't work out. But it can work out. It can work out, right? See, a good thing about Russell Westbrook is I think LeBron, he's more understandable than I think. Washington showed me a lot last year. Houston showed me a lot as well. He's a lot more understandable than you think. He can work with players. He's just not this stubborn guy. Maybe in OKC he was, right? With Kevin Durant. But I think he's matured a lot in these past 2 seasons. I think he realized it when he was playing with Paul George that, hey, I can't do this if I want to win a championship. I can't play the way I do. First of all, I'm getting older. Second off, we're not winning. We're getting knocked out in the first round every time. I got to do something different. And I think he's understanding that. And I think what he does do for the Lakers, the same thing that Carmelo and Trevor does, right? And I constantly hear announcers talk about easy baskets, right? Giannis always gets easy baskets. Russell Westbrook is going to attempt, maybe not easy basket, but high percentage shots. Higher percentage shots than most players. Most players will shoot a contested three from 40 feet out. Russell Westbrook could shoot a contested layup over a big, which is way better in my opinion than a contested three from 40 feet, because you draw the big, Dwight Howard comes and get an offensive rebound, Anthony Davis can get an offensive rebound. I just feel like it's a lot smarter. And I guarantee you LeBron's saying, yo, drive the ball every time. Just lay in the shot clock, 6 seconds left, drive the ball. Now, should the Lakers expect a championship out of this? And they are expecting a championship. I think that's where we sort of mess up a little bit. Western Conference Finals should be the Lakers' goal this year. Not glamorous, but that's a successful season to me. What do you think? Do you think they should do more? Do you think they should do less? Do you think Russell Westbrook's going to not work out as well? But before we get into discussing football, I want to touch on the under-the-radar moves that I think that are going to really help a lot of teams this offseason. Right? The Alex Carusos of signings. He's not going to make big news signing with the Bulls, but he's going to make the team better. And the Bulls are probably going to want to sign him to an extension after his 4-year contract is up. But right now, as of 7:44 a.m., who are the Nets' best signings so far to me? Not the Nets. I'm just reading the first signing. It was to the Nets. Patty Mills to the Nets, 2 years. Alex Caruso, Bulls, 4 years. Jeff Green to the Nuggets, 2 years. Otto Porter Jr. to the Warriors, 1 year. Evan Fournier to the Knicks, a 4-year contract. Andre Drummond to the 76ers. Yes, Andre Drummond to the 76ers. And yes, he's not a great free throw shooter. Yes. Only if the NBA was revolved around free throw shooting, LeBron and Luka would not be in the NBA right now. And there's a reason why I haven't discussed Ben Simmons, because high blood pressure runs in my family. It does. I can't talk about it. I can't. JaVale McGee to the Suns. Zach Collins to the Spurs, 3-year deal. That's the guy I said earlier, with the other Collins. Rudy Gay to the Jazz, 2 years. Enes Kanter back to the Celtics. I believe he signed a 1-year contract. All good signings are all going to make the team better. I'm most excited about Rudy Gay, and I'm interested to see Otto Porter, how has that worked? Does he take some of Andrew Wiggins' minutes? Does he take some of Draymond Green's minutes? In Golden State, right? Probably a little bit of both, But from one offseason to another offseason, football offseason. Kane and Grealish, those are the guys, are the big signings, or that's the big transfer news. Grealish, it seems to be already wrapped up. Man City is going to get Grealish for 100 million euros. I don't know the conversion factors from yen to euros, from euros to dollars. I don't know the conversion factor. 2.54 centimeters and 1 inch, just to let you know. I was going to give you a Celsius to Fahrenheit, but that's a little too much right now. I'll let you comprehend the 2.54. But I see Aston Villa fans begging Jack Grealish to stay. Tottenham manager doesn't want to talk about Harry Kane. For Jack Grealish, I believe it's a win-win. If he stays in Villa, he will never have to pay for anything ever again in that city. I believe it. I'm not going to even guess. I'm not even going to guess where they are. But I know it's northeastern somewhat, or the Midwest. It's the Midwest of England, where Aston Villa is, if I'm not mistaken. But if he stays in Aston Villa, never had to pay for anything. So like Chris Davis in Auburn. Chris Davis doesn't pay for anything in Auburn. If he goes to City, he makes so much money, it seems like he doesn't have to pay anything. So, it's a win-win for Jack Grealish. But congratulations on options, having options. You always want to have options. Sometimes you don't have options, and it's good to have options sometimes. Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is more up in the air than we think. I think Harry Kane stays. I think they play in the Conference League this year, and the only thing that Harry Kane really wants, he wants to play in Champions League. But Harry Kane wants to win a trophy for Spurs, right? The last thing Harry Kane wants to do is leave and then they win Conference League and he's just like, ugh. You know? I think he wants to win Conference League. And I think they have a shot to win Conference League. I think they have a shot to win the FA Cup. They have a shot to win to win in the Prem and make top 4. They can win Conference League. They're not going to win the Carabao Cup. Man City's going to win that, of course. I think Manchester United are done with transfers. I don't know. Maybe they could have another signing in the works. But Manchester United, I think, are done with their transfers. What do they do with Lindelof? Lindelof, right? Just keep on the bench. If I'm Lindelof, I'm trying to leave. I'm going to Spurs. If I'm Laporte, I'm going to Spurs. Get the Manchester rejects. Make them the Spurs backline. Laporte, Lindelof. I think Laporte has something to prove. Lindelof definitely has something to prove, right? Chelsea. Chelsea's probably not going to get Haaland. Not this transfer window. Maybe next transfer window. Maybe they have to wait a year for the Norwegian. But Lukaku looks like he wants to come to Chelsea, right? And to most people, Lukaku's probably the 3rd or 4th best striker in the world. In my opinion, he's the 2nd behind Lewandowski. Chelsea get Lukaku. It's going to be dangerous. Like Haaland, they're the Premier League Champions League frontrunners. They're the best team in the Premier League. If they can get Lukaku. Their only problem last year was scoring. And it looks like Hakim Ziyech has woken up and he's figured it out. I told you in an earlier podcast, Kai Havertz has figured it out. Mason Mount, not the hugest fan of Mason Mount, but he's a very good player. He's already has it figured out. Christian Pulisic does what Christian Pulisic does. They're going to be a scary team, Chelsea. They're going to be very scary. And one shout out to a guy who struggled at a big club at first, early in his career, went to Manchester United, didn't work out. Now he's in Barcelona, and he seems like he's ready for prime time, and that's Memphis Depay. Congratulations, Memphis. Really, congratulations on Figuring it out. Man, it's about figuring it out, man. It's about having options and figuring it out. And it's about being comfortable. Comfortable. 3 things. 3 messages for the day. We need a 4th element. We have 3 elements. Be comfortable, have options, and figure it out. It won't always take time to figure it out, but usually once you get comfortable, that's when you figure it out. And when you figure it out, that's when you get options. So they all are interchangeable. Sort of like racism, right? Figuring out racism. Everyone's confused on racism. Educate yourself, and when you educate yourself, you understand better. When you understand better, you become less of a racist, if that makes sense to people. That's the question everyone has. How to understand better? You can understand better by asking black people, by asking Asian people, by asking, Hispanic people. What's the problem? When you ask, you learn. When you learn, you understand. It all connects, baby. Everything connects. But anyways, on to the Olympics. Another sport that connects. The rings connect. The rings that I can't use in the thumbnail. There's a good thing the background is black on the thumbnail. Or the screen icon, whichever platform you watch on, SoundCloud or YouTube. SoundCloud's going to be posted a little bit later because I have to do a teensy weensy bit of editing today for this podcast. But on to Olympics, the interchanging, connecting rings. That was in the script. I made that up. I didn't make it up. I'm ad-libbing. I ad-libbed that. Hey, it's what I do. But let's get to the gold medal count. Not the medal count, the gold medal count. And I'm not doing the gold medal count because I'm lazy. It's because I only care about winners here. It's not because I'm lazy. Trust me. But before we get into that, no, let's not get into that. I just want to talk about. Well, let's get into the gold medals, and then we'll get into what I want to talk about. The top 10. We're going to do a top 10 list, but we're going to start at 12 because 12 through 8 are tied as of last time I checked. Republic of Korea with 6 gold medals, dominating archery. New Zealand getting gold. See, they got a gold. They have 6 gold as well. All these teams have 6 gold. New Zealand, 6 gold. But they got a gold in the sport they care about, rugby. Not saying that they don't care about the other sports, like kayaking that they got a gold in. But the USA, it's like the USA. The USA cares about basketball. We need to win basketball, right? And it looks like they're going to do pretty well. All the worries and doubts aren't as bad as we thought. But anyways, USA cares about basketball. We can lose, get second in swimming. We can get second in track and field. But we need to win basketball because that's our thing. If someone beats us at basketball, we need to rethink everything. That's why 2004 was so huge, right? New Zealand, congratulations on winning gold in rugby. Netherlands, 6 gold as well. They do very well in biking. It makes sense. France, the next host of the Olympics. Hold up. Yes, France, the next host of the Olympics. They do well in fencing. Of course they do well in fencing. 3 Musketeers. It makes sense. Netherlands and France, you guys make sense. France does well in fencing. Netherlands does well in biking, BMX, all the above biking. And Italy, with the fastest man in the world, who is from Texas, representing Italy. Now, how do we let this young man slip through the cracks? He ran a 9.8. Really, really fast. That's really fast. Usain Bolt won a 9.69 in Beijing. I will say this. I think Usain Bolt skipped a few steps on the evolutionary ladder. I do. I don't understand that. He ran a 9.69. That's not his best time ever. but he ran a 9.69. And my man from Italy, who is from Texas, won a 9.8. It's impressive, man. I didn't realize it. I was 8. I didn't realize how fast he was going. I thought this Olympics we would see. I didn't think people were that far off. That's what I will say. I didn't think people were that far off. I thought, Usain Bolt won a 9.69, but I thought like now people would be running like 9.75s, 9.73s, not 9.8s. 9.8 is very impressive though. You run 100 meters in less than 10 seconds. Very impressive. You know how fast a second is? Very fast. But I want to touch on Tyreek Hill being disrespectful to the fastest man to ever exist. The real cheater, Usain Bolt. Calling him washed. There's a reason why people don't win Super Bowls back to back. There's a reason why things happen the way they happen. Put some respect on the fastest man in the world, the real cheetah. But anyways, at 7, with 8 gold medals, Deutschland, Germany. They're very good at equestrian sports. Is Germany big in the makeup field? That's just a question I have. 8 Olympic gold medals for Germany. At number 6, we have the Russian Olympic Committee. Not Russia, the Committee of Russia. At 14 gold. Russia dominating team gymnastics. And when I look at their gold medals, they seem to do very well in physical sports. They seem like a country that's a very physical, hands-on, blue-collar, hard-working country. Right? So, it's so interesting how the countries that win the golds, like where they win the golds in. And how you can see how that's a representation of the culture of their country. Very, very interesting. At number 4, 5, we have 4 countries in this, but they're representing one nation, Great Britain. And Australia. And to some people's estimation, Australia is pretty much a country, is a continent. So it's not to some people. Australia is a continent. But I have a question. If the earth is flat, is Australia down under? Does that make sense? If the earth is flat, is Australia down under? I cannot take credit for this one. I will not take credit for this one. I got that from the Port and Vouge podcast. Port and Vouge YouTube video. That's where I got this from. Excuse the lawnmower if you can hear it in the background. Right? How impolite of him. Anyways, both countries have 14 golds. And I may be mistaken. They may have more now. Okay, so they have 15 gold. They have 15 gold. And I did this last night. So this isn't as live as you think. But they have 15 gold now. Russia really dominating in the aquatic sports. Great Britain, like Germany, like Netherlands, like Russia, they make sense. They have a very diverse field of golds. From swimming to running to diving. Very diverse. It's again representing their country very well. Their gold medals at least. Japan, doing well for a host nation. 21 golds in total. Gymnastics, softball, boxing, and dominating judo. If you didn't know, the Japanese created judo. So of course, that's another basketball, rugby type of kind of ordeal, where they can get bronze and everything else, but they need to dominate Judah. And they have. They're home. It's constantly, is it more pressure? Are you more comfortable doing it at home? And I feel like you're probably a lot more comfortable because there's no fans in the stands. But you're also home, you're comfortable. You've been doing this COVID thing in Japan for a while. To some people, it's a little different. A lot of people in the United States don't wear masks anymore. So imagine you coming from the United States and you're not wearing a mask, and you're wearing a mask. It's just slight changes that affect huge things. In second place, we have the United States, like Britain, showing that diversity in the different sports that we're getting golds in. All right. Women's basketball, we're doing well. We won 3v3 women's basketball. Men's basketball, we made the finals yesterday. Congratulations, a lot of doubts, right? Swimming, we did our thing in swimming. We closed out swimming strong. The United States closed out swimming strong. But what I have noticed is, as you can see, we're second in gold. Other countries are catching up. I also think the United States has gotten a little complacent. I think the United States thinks, and everyone knows that the United States is somewhat better at athletics than everyone else, right? And we're showing that. We're showing throughout the years that we're sort of really good at sports. And with that, I think we're sort of saying, we don't need to dominate swimming like we used to. The United States is saying that. The United States is saying, we don't need to dominate track and field like we used to. 400-meter hurdle. 400-meter hurdles. 400-meter hurdles is a very difficult thing. I just want to talk about that real quick. Very difficult. I was very impressed with the Norwegian young man who won it, and Sidney McLaughlin for the United States who won it. First and second United States on the women's portion. Second, silver for 400-meter hurdles. But we're seeing the United States take his foot off the gas. And I think the United States thinks that, when we want to put our foot on the gas again, we could win everything and dominate and get world records in the 100 and get it back. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. I do not think. I think these other countries are getting better, and the United States is going to have to fit in line, and we're going to have to find our specialties. Just like these other sports find their specialties. These are the sports where we need to win golds. Because if we don't win golds, we're just going to be Cuba, who has 4 gold medals, I believe. But the difference between Cuba and the United States is Cuba is like 50 times smaller. But first in gold, China. The Republic of China. I think that's what they call it. Or the Republic Confederation. One of the two. But it's China. And what I think was interesting is, I don't know the statistics on this, but do you think that the Beijing Olympics made China become good because they're like, the United States is coming to Beijing and dominating us? We need to change this. Japan's in 2020. We have 10 years. That's 12 years. Let's make this right. Right? Let's start dominating again. We're just as big as the United States. We have just as many people. But I like how China is elegant and hardworking at the same time. That's why people enjoy Chinese culture. It's elegant and hardworking. Chinese food. Elegant. But you see them working hard in the back. Have you ever been to a Chinatown? A lot of people busting their butts. Working. But it's elegant. It's nice. Red. It's crisp. Clean. Their language, crisp, clean. I mean, I understand what they're saying, but it's crisp and clean. You can't say that about the United States. About English, I should say. But the Olympics isn't over. The United States can still come back. I think they have a deficit of 7. They have 25. China has 32. Again, I did this at 2:24 a.m. That's the last time I checked. Yes, I stay up to 2:24 a.m. to do a 7 a.m. podcast. Alright? But who cares? But anyways, I just want to close this out now. Congratulations to China for having the most gold. I think they have the second most medals, but the most golds. Who only cares about winners at Peng Sports. But this is the Peng Sports Podcast, episode 23. I'm Kamal Daniels, and thank you for listening. It is Thursday. One more time, thank you for listening. No, seriously, I don't think I thanked you guys last week. But this week I do want to say thank you. It means a lot. More than you think. And most likely I'll be back on Wednesday next week. But it could be on Thursday. But I will be back next week for episode 24. Another number that people are very fond of for some reason. But anyways, this is Peng Sports Podcast. This is Kamal Daniels. Thank you for listening.